In the colorful town of Sunnyvale, a curious 12-year-old boy named Leo loved exploring. One afternoon, while flying his homemade kite on a hill, he noticed something unusual in the sky. Far above the clouds, a small island was floating in the air. Leo rubbed his eyes, and he whispered, "That can't be real." But the island was still there. As he watched, a glowing feather drifted down from the sky and landed at his feet. The feather shimmered with golden light. Suddenly, a tiny voice said, "Help us." Leo looked around but saw nobody. The voice came from the feather. "Please save our island before it disappears forever." That evening, Leo showed the feather to his best friend, Mia. Mia was smart, brave, and loved solving mysteries. As soon as she touched the feather, it began glowing. A magical compass appeared in front of them. The compass needle spun wildly before pointing toward the mountains outside town. "What if this is a map?" Mia asked. Leo smiled. Only one way to find out. The next morning, they packed their backpacks and began their adventure. Following the compass, Leo and Mia entered a strange forest where crystal trees sparkled in every color. Birds sang beautiful melodies. Butterflies glowed like tiny lanterns. Everything seemed magical. Suddenly, a giant crystal wolf stepped onto the path. The children froze. The wolf growled and blocked their way. Mia noticed symbols carved into a nearby tree. It was a puzzle. After a few moments, she solved it. The symbols lit up. The wolf smiled and stepped aside. "You have wisdom," the wolf said. "You may pass." The compass led them to an ancient tower hidden deep in the mountains. At the top of the tower was a platform made of silver stone. The glowing feather floated into the air. Suddenly, the platform began rising. Higher and higher it climbed. Past the clouds, past flocks of birds, past rainbow-colored mist. Finally, it reached a floating island. Leo and Mia stared in amazement. Waterfalls flowed upward into the sky. Trees grew blue leaves. Tiny dragons flew among the clouds. It was the most beautiful place they had ever seen. Near the center of the island stood a magnificent crystal palace. Inside waited Queen Aurora, ruler of the floating island. She looked worried. She explained, "The heart crystal that keeps our island floating is losing its power. If it dies completely, the island will fall." Leo asked, "Can we help?" The queen nodded. "The crystal of light has been stolen by shadow crows. Without it, the heart crystal cannot survive." Leo and Mia traveled to a dark canyon on the edge of the island. Black clouds swirled overhead. Shadow crows guarded a giant nest. Inside the nest sat the crystal of light, but hundreds of crows surrounded it. "We can't fight them," Leo whispered. Mia had an idea. She noticed mirrors scattered around the canyon. Using the mirrors, they reflected sunlight into the darkness. The bright light filled the canyon. The shadow crows screeched and flew away. The crystal of light floated into Leo's hands. As they hurried back to the palace, the island began shaking. Pieces of land broke away. Buildings tilted. The heart crystal was almost dead. "Hurry!" shouted Queen Aurora. Leo carefully placed the crystal of light into the heart crystal. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, boom! A brilliant beam of golden light shot into the sky. The island stopped shaking. The waterfall sparkled. Flowers bloomed instantly. The floating island was saved. Everyone cheered. Queen Aurora thanked the children. "You have saved our world." As a reward, she gave them each a small crystal pendant. Whenever you need help, the island will hear your call. The magical elevator carried them home. Back in Sunnyvale, everything looked normal. But whenever Leo and Mia looked up at the clouds, they could see the floating island shining faintly in the distance. And they knew their adventure was only the beginning. Moral of the story: wisdom, teamwork, and courage can solve problems that strength alone cannot overcome.